Alright, boom. So today we got the true king of the NBA's most difficult era, and I'm not gonna lie. What era do you guys feel like is most difficult? To me, bro, the 2010s, like the second half, like from 2015 to 2020, bro. I feel like that was a crazy era, bro. Like there were some of the best teams, and they never won. Some of the best teams you'll ever see, bro, never winning rings. You feel me? I feel like it was a dominant era. The whole 2010s for that decade, I feel like is the greatest decade for basketball, bro. Personally, but. Feel me? What do y'all think? And comment below. Which y'all think is the hardest era? But that being said, let's get straight into the video.
James Naismith hung a peach basket at the International Young Men's Christian Association Training School in Springfield, Massachusetts. And in the roughly 130 years that would follow, the sport of basketball has grown into a fixture on the global sporting stage, with its highest peak reaching in America's National Basketball Association, the place where now countless millions of aspiring athletes from every continent on this planet dream to one day add their chapter in the book of legends, to etch their bust amongst the other immortals that have ruled this sport. But the sport itself, the style, the pace, and its rules have changed drastically through the years since Dr. Naismith first hung that peach basket. While the NBA reaches back as early as the 1940s, the modern era began in 1976 when the ABA and the NBA merged to form the current league as we know it. There have been various other rules changes along the way.
So basically, before then, like the NBA, even though it existed, wasn't really like the NBA as it is now. Because, you know, I was saying modern era was like 90s or after and stuff.
Shaped the style of basketball being played today in the National Basketball Association, an era of which is commonly believed to be the best, most difficult time to play professional basketball at the highest level. And
I'm not gonna lie, that was my opinion too, bro.
An era which has ignorant stooges on every corner of the internet, all the way up to prominent basketball analysts lamenting the superiority of today's game, while diminishing other eras and relegating pass grades to the likes of plumbers.
Oh, well, you know, he was being guarded by plumbers and firemen.
But which era actually was the most difficult? When you look at
Hey man, how y'all feel about the plumber and fireman comment? I'm not gonna lie, that was so funny, bro, when it came out, when he said it. Cause like, to be honest, some players back then were not that good, but obviously as we do our research, bro, some of these greats are just all-time greats. I feel like players like Larry Bird would do perfectly good in today's game, bro.
Young decade
he's just not as athletic as he needs, but he can do everything else.
We currently reside in of the 2020s. It's actually trending to be one of the easiest decades to play in all of league history. One of the most wide open, offensively, statistically inflated eras ever. And that dates back all the way into the 1960s, which was the most fast-paced, highest scoring decade we have ever seen, with nightly scoring averages swelling into the mid-1 teens. From the decade of 1960 to 1969, averages were 115 points per game. This era famously produced Wilt Chamberlain and his gaudy scoring explosions, which reached a peak in 1962 when he averaged 50 points per game for an entire season. The rapid pace of play and meteoric nightly scoring averages lead many to question the validity of or outright dismiss many of the accomplishments that era produced. Yet, those similar
it's not even because of that. It's just like back then, bro. Like, do you see the way they playing? Like, that's honestly it. It's not even because the inflated numbers. It's just the game evolved. You feel me?
Today's NBA, where nightly scoring reached nearly 115 points per game in the most recent 2022-2023 season. And many things pertaining to sports debates, theories, and takes are generally actually just people's individual preferences. It is fundamentally impossible to unequivocally determine opinion-based topics like what era had the most physically imposing or athletically gifted players in it. That's why commentary about plumber eras or anything else based on someone's eye test is undeniably insane and galactically stupid.
Galactically stupid!
While your eyes lie, numbers and their context seldom do. and we are smack dab in the heart of the easiest era to play in and stack statistics in since that 1960s decade.
I feel like the NBA nowadays just requires like a different level of spacing. Like it might look like it's more open, but it's because people are trying to shoot so many threes at such a high rate, and they're genuinely making them. Like a lot of players can. It's like you have to be able to shoot for most players. So it's like it just looks like it's more open, it's more scoring, but it's just how it is.
And in the 1970s, scoring would start its decade-long descent, down from 115 points per game in the 60s to just 108 points in the 70s. But in 1979, the course of NBA history would forever be changed when the three-point line was added in. Scoring would see a slight uptick through the 1980s, jumping up a point per game for that decade up to 109.3 per night. Once we hit the 90s, however, the style of basketball would change. The league would shift to a much slower paced, lower scoring, and defensively oriented game. For the decade, scoring averages dropped to just 101.3 points per game. Despite average nightly scoring plummeting 8 full points per game from the previous decade, Michael Jordan was still able to average 30 points per game and win a championship in literally every single year he started and played a full season throughout the decade. As a response to dwindling scoring amid the ferocious defensive trends of the 90s, the NBA would implement a number of rules changes. Most notably, hand checking was outlawed officially in 2004, and illegal zoning rules were abolished in 2001. Despite the NBA taking measures to try to promote a more offensive game, in the decade of 2000 to 2010, scoring dropped precipitously, down to 96.9 points per game on average, which is easily, by far and away, the lowest scoring decade in modern NBA history. Not only were points per game at its lowest, nightly possessions and pace of play were drastically less than in any other decade. Assists per game were the lowest ever. Field goal percentage was also at an all-time low. This was the dead ball era of NBA basketball, and yet it produced one of the most offensively dominant players in NBA history. During this decade, Kobe Bryant led every player in total points scored with 21,550. To put that number in context, look no further than the NBA's all-time scoring king, LeBron James, who won his first league MVP in 2008-2009 season at the age of 24. Over the course of the decade that would follow, James's absolute prime 10 years, he scored 20,349 total points, well over 1,000 fewer points than Bryant scored during the decade of the 2000s. Kobe.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Is Kobe a better scorer than LeBron?
Would also lead this decade in points per game, averaging 28.5 for the decade, a decade that included LeBron James and Dwayne Wade for 7 years, Allen Iverson and Shaquille O'Neal for the entire 10-year span, and a young Kevin Durant. And again, speaking of LeBron and looking at his best 10-year span of time, he averaged 27.2 points per game, or over a full point fewer than Bryant did during the 2000s. And one of the major knocks on Kobe as a scorer, a point for which he is routinely diminished, is for his perceived lack of efficiency. But
I'm not gonna lie, I was about to bring up that point as well. I'm gonna be honest. I do want to let him speak, but I want to say my thing first. I was about to say, like, LeBron might have slightly better efficiency, bro, but you feel me?
That perception is a product of the era and time in which Bryant was unfortunate enough to play in. Again, we are talking about a decade of prime for Bryant that had league-wide scoring averages of 96.9 per game, nearly 20 points per game fewer than the most recent season. Kobe shot 45.6% from the field over this span of time, while league averages during this decade was just 44.9%. Average effective field goal percentage during that 10-year span for the league was 48.6, and Bryant had an effective field goal percentage of 48.9 over that time. Kobe actually exhibited above average efficiency in the era that he played in. During this decade span from
Bro, so he was good, bro. What? His efficiency not even
2000
bad.
to 2010, Bryant made 8 All-NBA first teams, 1 second team, and 1 third team. And speaking of this being the greatest defensive era in history, Kobe made 7 All-NBA defensive first teams and 2 second teams during this decade. He would also win 4 of his 5 career NBA championships in this 10-year span, while appearing in 6 of the 10 finals. Kobe Bryant dominated this era like no other player, and like few other players ever have in any of the other eras in NBA history. During the decade that would follow, from 2010 to 2020, scoring would steadily increase and jump about 5 points per game higher on average to just over 102 points per game, as the rules changes that were implemented in the early 2000s finally started to yield the league the offensive fruits they were looking for. And in the
You got people shooting from the logo like this. Of course it's gonna increase. Like, come on.
first 3 years thus far of the 2020s, we have swelled all the way to over 112 points per game, as pace, court spacing, and primarily three-point shooting are at all-time historic rates. It makes sense that as we get further away from certain eras in history, they become less memorable, and perhaps we get to a point where large portions of a fan base weren't even alive to experience it in the first place. But in this current generation, we have become more prisoners of the moment than ever before, indicative of a petulant feeling of superiority that everything you are experiencing or seeing now must be the biggest, best, and greatest ever. But despite whatever your lying eyes might tell you, Kobe Bryant dominated an era of basketball without equal, and he represents one of the very few on a list of players who were the greatest to ever do it. And chances are his name is on a list even shorter than you care to admit.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Shout out Kobe. That being said, bro, do y'all really feel like that was the hardest era? Like, the stats show it, but also the game kind of evolved in this era. The pace, the three-point shot in like the game being played so much faster. But I will give it to him, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Defensively, it does seem like that was the hardest era, and Kobe was running it back then. With that being said, like, comment, subscribe, and I'm seeing you on the next one.